Strickland's got a lot of buzz. Buzz is cheap. I know exactly who I am. I know exactly what I'm capable of. I'm 3-0. I expect to be 3-0. I expect to win the Continental Classic, bitch, because I'm the ace of the world.
Team in Texas. You called yourself the ace. I'm hungry. I'm feasting. I need that. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win. At all costs, it don't matter who's in my way. Remember that, all right?
Good. Me too.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, all right? Make sure you log it in and you remember to check out my good friends over at the Broken Table Podcast live on YouTube. These are some of my good friends. They have some of the best topics going on. They're talking about a lot of good things. And also, they like to put over the Prince Nana dance. Hey, I swerve and I drive. I swerve and I drive. Hey. Don't forget, tune in, log on to the Broken Tables Podcast live on YouTube, my friends.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Broken Tables Podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Vegas, here as always with our co-host, King Rome. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good.
That is excellent to hear. Excellent to hear. Man, Tony Khan giving us a nice little Christmas gift here tonight with the Holiday Bash. I had a good time watching this Dynamite tonight. What about you?
Yeah, I mean it was a fun show. Obviously, the C2 has continued to be overall a smash hit. Produced some really great matches. We definitely got 2 of those matches tonight. But yeah, I mean it was a fun show. A few little gripes here and there, which we'll get into, but I thought it was a really good show.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And thank you to our newest subscriber down there, Jimmy Jenkins. Welcome to the crew. Thank you very much.
What up, Jimmy?
I guess we could just go right into the Dynamite review here tonight. From Oklahoma City. This crowd was on fire. First thing I wanted to say, like right off the bat, I just noticed, I was like, oh, this crowd is amped up tonight. You know, they must have passed out the monsters or something in the crowd because these guys were ready to go. And immediately we just start right off with whose house? Swerve's house. Immediately Swerve versus Roosh. And man, I felt like this was like a personal Christmas present from Tony. I love Roosh. And Swerve's probably one of my favorite guys in AEW right now. And this match was awesome.
I would say sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I would say the biggest issue I would have with this match is that they put it on first because nothing in the show match-wise followed it.
I would agree.
Yeah, excellent match. This
very
was
good.
So good. You got 2 guys who I feel like they're gonna get ready to turn Swerve face, but like, man, these are 2 guys who like really have like top 2 heel energy in the company between the 2 of them. It's just like,
for sure,
it was a really good match.
So during Roosh's entrance, did you see how, like, you know how normally they look at hard cam and they do some sort of a pose? Roosh looked towards the audience. I don't know how to describe it, but sideways from hard cam, and it caused the Jumbotron to be behind him while he was doing his pose. Yeah. And it said Roosh in those huge letters behind him while he did it. I was like, why have I never seen anyone do this? And if they have, I've never noticed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a great shot, and it's a shot that kind of reminded me of the old Daly's Place days when they would during the pandemic, where they had the hard cam facing the stage, which made a lot of sense. So it's a really nice, like, cinematic shot that I would like to see them kind of utilize more often. I mean, the graphics department, like the Titantron department, whatever you want to call it, like whoever's putting these Titantrons together, like there's some pretty nice looking graphics. So I mean, like, definitely use them. I mean, they look really good, so I can't blame them.
Yeah, I honestly really loved that for some reason it caught my eye, and I was just like, do that for everyone. But maybe not do it for everyone. Maybe just make it exclusive to Roosh because it was that cool, you know?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I could definitely see them doing that.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to mention that not an issue with this match, but it started, I believe, at the end of this match and carried out through the night for the most part. But we had more production issues, with
Yeah.
screens blacking out. And like, look, man, like you could say it's TBS, you could say it's AEW. At the end of the day, it keeps happening. And in the Discord, Nat made a really good point, and it's really kind of hard to overlook it. Is like this never happens to anyone else. Like, not as often as it happens to AEW. Like,
Yeah.
the NFL never deals with this. UFC never deals with this. WWE never deals with this. It's like, whatever's going on in AEW, like, again, I don't know who's at fault here. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's TBS's fault, and it's happening on AEW's programming, so they're going to get the blame.
Yeah.
Whatever the issue is, like, I think we've hit a point where it's like, all right, well, I think you really got to make a change somewhere. You got to do something because this does happen regularly. This isn't like a small occurrence, right? Like, I was thinking about this when it was happening, right? Because it doesn't really ruin the overall enjoyment of the show. Not like 100% for me personally, but at the end of the day, it is kind of irritating when you have no idea what's going on for 5, 10, sometimes as much as 15, 20 seconds. And
Yeah. Luckily,
like,
this one came while Excalibur was just kind of ranting about stuff that happened previously and, you know, in the future of the Gold League and the Blue League. So good that it wasn't during a match was my big thing there.
yeah, that's true, I guess. But there was, again, some more issues where it popped up throughout the night. Even sometimes when like the feed didn't go out, but like I don't know if you saw it, but like once or twice, like the bottom half of the feed kind of messed up. Like it was very minimal as the night went on, but the first 2 or 3 times that it happened, very noticeable. So I would like to see
Huh.
them
I-
not do that.
I didn't get any of the bottom half of the feed cutting, but I did get the 10 seconds of darkness. I got that twice throughout the
Yeah.
night.
Okay.
But you know, I even wrote down here. I was like, good thing it was during Excalibur's rant. You know, I was like, not a huge deal, but it did happen again. And you're right. It seems to happen to them more often than others. Not too sure why. This one felt like when it has bad weather outside. You know what I mean? Like it kind of just cut the feed, and it still said AEW down on the bottom right. You know, like their little logo was still there and stuff. But I didn't see any explanation for it online or anything like that. But you know, it did happen. But this was still a great match here with Roosh and Swerve. Felt like I said, it felt like a Christmas present for me. The crowd absolutely loves Swerve, so I can totally see where you know you've been saying you think they might turn Swerve face. I think his character right now is just one of those in-betweeners that you could cheer the guy or hate the guy, you know what I mean, depending on what he does today or tomorrow.
I hear you. I think the tweener concept in wrestling is something that's really hard to nail organically.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I just think that at the end of the day, I mean, we saw it with Max this year. It's like the guy was a heel, one of the best heels. But then you hit a point where you just get so over, kind of just got to do what's right, and that's make the change. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
and we see it happen both ways. Where, you know, if a top babyface gets stale, what's the right thing to do with them? To turn them heel, and you know, again, vice versa. Like if you have a heel who gets just so over to the point where this, like we saw with MJF over the last year, where it's just like the guy couldn't get people to boo him because he's so over and so likable, such a great actor right now. That like that you can't fight things like that. You just need to let things. Wrestling is so great when things happen organic. Like when you
Agreed.
try to force things and like, you know, factory manufacture on an assembly line, you know, it's why I'm not a believer in the performance center in
Yeah.
Orlando. It's like you're just an assembly line making cookie cutter wrestlers. Whereas, you know, the more traditional going through the indies and learning your own way, and however those wrestlers figure themselves out and learn who they are, like just a way more
One of my
beneficial way to do it.
One of my favorite examples is right down here doing the yes, yes,
Oh, for sure.
yes. I mean, that was one of the most organic things I've ever seen happen.
I mean, yeah, definitely. It's just, and that's a testament. It's exactly what I'm saying. Is like,
Yeah.
it, you know, testament to how great something is when it can organically get over. The yes movement in WWE had nothing to do with the booking or the power of the show or the message or the vocal points of the show. It's they didn't want it to be a big, but they just
Yeah.
got to a point where you can't ignore it.
Yeah.
And
I've seen
and,
entire
and that's
college
what I
football
see.
stadiums do it.
Yeah, and that's what I see when I see Swerve Strickland. I see a guy who is absolutely on fire, killing it right now. I just don't know how long he's going to be able to remain as a heel. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I just don't see it lasting. So I think 2024 is going to be a huge year for him, and we'll see where it goes with the Keith Lee stuff. Because I mean, obviously they could paint him as a heel, maybe reestablish him, but him in the C2, it's really cemented the work ethic and the work rate that you see from him. And I just I would be shocked if we're sitting here 6 months from now and like Swerve isn't like a top baby face on the show.
Oh,
I would be
yeah,
very surprised to see that not.
yeah. Well, Swerve does pick up the win here with an awesome stomp off the top ropes for the 1-2-3, and Swerve Strickland gets his 12th point, gets his 3 points there, gets to 12 points in the Gold League. Awesome, awesome match. Right after the match is when the feed was cut. I think that's what I wrote down next. It was about 10 seconds. Excalibur was just giving you a preview of, I think, Rampage, possibly. I'm not even sure what he was saying, obviously, because it cut out. Next up, we had Chris Jericho show up, and I was absolutely shocked. Even though this was an amazing crowd, they cheered the shit out of seeing Jericho up on the Jumbotron. I was kind of like, oh, all right, this crowd loves Jericho. And Jericho proceeds to explain that Kenny Omega has diverticulitis. That is the reason that he is out. He gets really, really big cheers when he says Kenny's health is the most important thing, so Kenny needs to go heal up. This actually almost made me tear up a little bit with, Jericho felt very sincere here. And man, I don't know if you know what diverticulitis is, but that's what Brock Lesnar had that took him out of the UFC, and he had to get some of his I don't remember which intestine, but he had to get one of his intestines, like a chunk of it, removed. So, this nothing small. I wasn't expecting this kind of a diagnosis if it's like the actual thing he's dealing with.
Did you see Kenny Omega flipping out on a wrestling troll on Twitter?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought up Brock having pronounce it for me.
Diverticulitis.
Diverticulitis. Thank you. So anyway, so on AEW Fight Forever, if you go to the creator wrestler stuff, Brock's like, you know how like even in the older WWE games, if they didn't have rights to the wrestler's name, but they wanted to use like the moves in the CAW, they would like come up with like a kind of a catchy name to it that was like related loosely to the wrestler.
Okay.
Well, so Brock has some mannerisms in the game that are clearly Brock Lesnar. And the name for the wrestling move set or like move list is diverticulitis.
Oh, fuck.
And so someone said, I can't remember where the tweet came from, but I think maybe it was I don't know, one of the AEW Twitter accounts who, they tweeted about Kenny getting the surgery, and someone was like, "Oh man, yeah, it sucks now that Kenny has it," but he made fun of Brock for it, and Kenny himself responded to the tweet saying, "Bro, what the fuck are you talking about?" He's like, "You think that yes, I had a big say in the development, but do you think someone who was in my position with as many responsibilities as I had the responsibility of naming create a wrestler move list names? Like yeah, someone made that joke, but like he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Stop putting that on me. I didn't."
Yeah. Oof.
But
hey, let's go say what's up to chat real quick. We got the Coog in there. What's up, Coog? We got Michael Duke saying he knows what that means. And Coog says Kenny deserves no hate. He changed the game with regard to the Fed deserves all respect and the Hall of Fame for that. Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be any hate being thrown at Kenny for that. I sincerely doubt that he was the one that named that move set. That obviously came from a little bit lower down on the totem pole,
Right.
But definitely hope Kenny gets better. Hope he doesn't have to have a piece of his intestine removed, because that would suck. That's like a 1.5 year, 2 year recovery, I think. I don't remember how long it took Brock, but I know it was a long time. Next up was Jay Briscoe versus Jay Lethal. I'm sorry, Mark Briscoe. Why did I say Jay? We both did. I think you did it last week and then I did it this week.
I didn't do it last week. I pointed out that AEW's Twitter account did it.
That's right. Yeah. Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal. Jeez. This was where I actually did lose signal for another 10 seconds, but it was right as they were about to ring the bell for this match. So then once it came back, it was just basically the very beginning of the match. So it was almost in the middle of a match, kind of, sort of was. So, they need to get that cleaned up. If it was weather, we need to find out why it only happens to them and not, the E and NFL, and just get it cleaned up. That's all.
Tells you that it's not weather, probably.
Oh, I know. I don't know what happens there. It's just like somebody hits a button for a second. They're like, oops, I hit the button.
Yeah, right.
I'd be like, fucking destroy that button. Why is it there?
Yeah, why do you have that button?
Get that button out of here. What's up, Sergio? But this was a good match. It was actually a really, really entertaining match. The crowd was super, super into it. I just wasn't, because obviously these two guys were both out of the tournament already. And we just had to see one of them get a win. And I understand where all of this went. I think I even predicted this at the beginning of the tournament. I was like, both of them are going to go 0-5 and have to face each other in their 6th match. And one of them's going to get a win. And, it's fine. It was their rematch after the Jay Briscoe Memorial match. And Mark Briscoe comes up with the win here again. And he gets his first win. And the crowd gave him a standing ovation here. I actually... it was definitely an entertaining match. Like, I just was kind of like, well, it is what it is.
I mean, so like, obviously this is going to come off as really mean, but it's coming from a place of honest feedback and critiquing of the show, wanting the show to be better. But it's like, man, if this match was the vibe of week 17, already eliminated from playoff contention,
Yeah.
NFL football team going at it on a 1:00 game.
Yeah, and putting on a good game, you know what I mean? But for no reason.
The match was fine. I mean, it didn't really blow me away, but I just didn't care about it.
That's how I felt, yeah.
And like Nat said, this should have been on Rampage. I thought that what would have been a great idea for this match would be to put it on the death slot, the death quarter, which is that 7th quarter, where like it always dips. Like like I don't know what it is. Like people just don't watch that one quarter, right? And it's just like, why not just put this match on that? Like, I don't know. Like, I just felt like the placement of this match on the card was kind of a head scratcher, because look, man, like I thought the match was fine. All respect to Mark and Jay Lethal, and it's like, I didn't care. I just had zero interest in this match. This match meant nothing to me. And the reason that I critique it the way I do is because I just want them to not put themselves in situations to have things not match. Because I think I said this a few weeks ago, but it's like, one of the biggest things that I hate about WWE is how much they made everything feel so inconsequential by the time I was done with the company. And I just don't want to see AEW make that mistake. And like, that's what this match felt like. This match felt like the kind of match I would expect to see on a 3-hour Monday Night Raw, where it's just like, we're just trying to fill some TV time.
Yeah, I agree with the should have been on Rampage segment. This would have been one of those, if I had my button made, I'd be should have been on Rampage.
Yeah, it's
but
just
the crowd loved it. I got to admit, the crowd really, really enjoyed the match. They gave him a standing ovation. Like,
I mean, I honestly, and again, this sounds, I chalk it up to just the crowd be very, very excited to.
Yeah,
like I didn't think that this match was really anything to write home about. It was fine, and I think that they're kind of turning Jay Lethal babyface. I think that's kind of where they're going with it. But
hey, he went 0-6. Ouch.
Well, like, I thought it was dumb because like we didn't do a podcast for Collision last week. But like the thing that I was just like scratching my head at was the Mark Briscoe Jay Lethal promo, where like Mark's like, Jay, like you're winless in this tournament, like maybe it's because the company you keep. And I'm like, Mark, you idiot, what do you mean? You haven't won either. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we're just not making sense.
Yeah.
Like, And even Karen, I think Karen says that. She's like, "What are you talking about? You didn't win either." Yeah, dumb, really dumb. So I mean, I don't want to harp on it, but
No,
it
it was
wasn't.
fine. It was still a fine match. If you're a fan of either of those guys, I would recommend you go watch it. That's pretty much what I would say. Next up, we had a video package for MJF being inducted into the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. This was really cool. I actually saw some of this on Twitter and on YouTube throughout the week. This was awesome. And I love how they ran this into a commercial or preview for the Iron Claw movie. This was great.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see here. Next up was a video package from Wardlow on MJF. Same old thing he's been saying, I'm going to get you when I'm going to get you. Next up, go ahead.
I can't see where they're going with Wardlow, which isn't a bad thing. But I'm just very intrigued how Wardlow's going to fit in.
It feels like Wardlow's just going to be stalking MJF until it's his turn and just kind of scaring him around every corner,
Well, because the assumption would be that Wardlow's one of the Devil's guys, because that's just kind of how they're kind of chalking it up. I think on paper, you look at the Devil character and the storyline, and it's like this Devil character, and maybe these guys that are following the Devil, maybe they're just all people that MJF has wronged and they hate him, right?
Yeah.
But man, I just feel like we're at a point now where MJF is probably the Devil. So I'm just not sure where Wardlow factors into all of it. Which again, it's not a bad thing to be a little unpredictable. As long as you don't go too crazy.
I agree.
Yeah, we'll see.
So next up, this could possibly tie into that, So next up, Samoa Joe comes out and he calls out MJF saying, of all the people that have been attacked, the only one who was attacked with no footage is MJF. So he thinks MJF is the Devil now. So MJF comes out and he absolutely gets in Joe's face. MJF takes his shirt or takes his jacket off, takes his belts off, and shoves Joe. And all of a sudden, they are surrounded by what looked to be like 13 of those masked dudes. Did you count them by any chance? It was probably more like 8, but it just seemed like they were everywhere.
So it was really funny to me because I'm watching this when the guys all come out, and the first round of guys clearly extra.
Yeah.
Right. And then the second group comes up, and they're a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier, and I'm like, okay, these are the real wrestlers. Obviously the extras are wrestlers too, but you know what I'm saying? Those are guys that are probably actually on the roster.
Yeah.
It was very obvious to me. The first group comes out, bunch of geeks, just kind of get destroyed right away. And then the second squad of 5 or 6 come out. Clearly something going on there. Some stuff I really liked about this promo. I love MJF calling Samoa Joe No-Show Joe.
Well, the crowd started chanting it, and then MJF used it. I was like, wow, that was cool.
Yeah. So it kind of some back and forth, accusations going on. Like you said, the guys show up, they get cleared out, lights go off, lights come back on, and you see the Devil on the screen, and it says, "Where can you go? Who can you trust? Next week, will you accept a challenge for your Ring of Honor World Tag titles? Are you a hero?"
Yeah, I love those words when they come up on the thing there. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think the Devil story's kind of picked up a little bit, but at the same time, I think it's also kind of lost some momentum. I feel like obviously the payout is coming. I feel like we're gonna find out at World's End, who is the Devil, one way or the other.
Yeah.
But I mean, man, it's a good thing we're coming to the end of this part of the story because it's starting to drag a little.
I saw a couple people saying that they're like, we need to get this Devil thing wrapped up, but I think it is dependent on Adam Cole's ankle. You know what I mean? I'm still on the fact that I don't think his ankle was broken and destroyed like they're saying. I think he had a pretty bad high sprain or something like that. Mm-hmm. So there may be, but like you say, Tony never knows how to pivot and stuff like that. But we'll see when it all gets said and done. We'll see where it goes.
He will.
And those words kind of challenged MJF and Samoa Joe for a tag match for the Ring of Honor championships. And MJF was like, Joe, I don't want to bother you again, and Joe just doesn't even hesitate. He's like, we accept. I like that. You know, MJF looked surprised. I was surprised. So I liked it.
Well, I think Joe is just fed up. Like, it's
Yeah,
not even about protecting Max. I think he's just fed up with this devil thing.
Yeah, he's just done.
Yeah, Joe is like a section of the fan base. They're just ready to move on.
Yeah.
Done with.
All right, next up was Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends with Rocky Romero, and he was doing a little promo about how he lost his championship. And I don't know how or why, but Orange Cassidy thought he was challenging him, and Orange was just like, okay, Rocky, I'll see you. Did he say on Rampage?
Yeah.
He's like, I'll see you on Rampage. And Rocky was left stunned that he now has an AEW, what is this one called? The Intercontinental? International. This is the International Championship. Thank you.
Well, yeah, that's why the match came out, because Rocky said after losing his CML title, he's looking for the next international opportunity to step up or to appear.
Yes.
And so Orange Guy's like, all right, I get it.
Very nice.
You know, you want to hear something funny, actually, since we're talking about Orange Cassidy? So I was talking to the wife yesterday, and she's doing her Christmas shopping and stuff like that, and we were talking. It's like, I like to be surprised. So, like, I'm the type of person, like, I make like a decently sized wish list, knowing that I'm not going to get everything, but just so I can still kind of be surprised, but still ask for stuff I want. And
Nice.
so on the list was an Orange Cassidy shirt, the black one with the orange confetti on it.
Okay.
And so I was talking to her, and she was like, "Yeah, like, I'm just worried because one of your Christmas presents hasn't shipped yet. Like, I bought it like early December, and like they're telling me like the website says like 9 to 11 days to ship, and like the turnaround, and I haven't gotten a shipping confirmation yet." And she's telling me about how long the shipping's taking, and I'm like, "It's the Orange Cassidy shirt, isn't it? Because I know that Pro Wrestling Tees fucking sucks."
Yeah. It's crazy.
They're so terrible. And she's like, "Yeah, it is." And I'm like, I'm not trying to like ruin a surprise, but like it hasn't even shipped yet, and she ordered it like December 2nd. She's like, "There's no way it's gonna be." No.
Dude, I ordered something on eBay, and it was like, we'll be there December 26th. It showed up yesterday. I was like, what? I was like, how did this even happen?
I think that like one of the biggest problems I have with AEW as a company is that like you guys got to stop relying on pro wrestling, because they can't handle it. They really can't handle the AEW side of the business. Like, and like, I get it. I understand why they do it, and I had to explain to the wife why they do it, because they print everything as it's ordered. Like, they don't do what WWE Shop does, where they have all these shirts ready to go, and then you just order and they just ship them out. But like, I kind of would prefer that, because if I want to buy a shirt, or like, you know, it's a Christmas time, or like whatever, like even if I was buying it for myself, I don't want to wait like all this time to get my stuff. Man, Pro Wrestling Tees is terrible. And I understand people might not like me saying that, but like, man,
it says 9 to 15 days. Sometimes it takes 20 to 25. Like,
exactly, that's what I'm saying. And like, obviously it's the holidays, so they're even more backed up because they're a small team. But like, my point is, like, man, like AEW, just like invest in like a warehouse, like invest in a system where you have your shirts ready to ship out. It's like, it sucks, man. It sucks waiting as long as they make you, and they charge you for shipping too. It's not cheap shipping either. They use like DHL to ship it, and like you end up paying like $7 ship like one shirt.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! As long as I'm waiting, at least offer shipping.
Yeah, it's not great.
But
all right, let's move forward here. Next up, Timeless Tony Storm joins commentary. Dude, I laughed so freaking hard here, because Excalibur was like, "You're one of my favorite partners to join on commentary." And she says to Taz, "You are one of my favorite landlords because apparently people call you the human duplex machine." Dude, I lost it. I was laughing so hard, and I should not have been laughing that hard. It wasn't that funny, but I was losing it, dude. It was great. I was almost
No, it was that funny.
It was so good. I loved it. She is fantastic in this new character, man. I can't get over it. So she comes out here during this number one contenders match, Saraya versus Riho. This was a fantastic match. I was honestly surprised here. They actually made Riho look really, really strong. I thought they were going to have Riho kind of do the Darby Allin thing and like get her ass beat for a while and then come back and get a win at the end of the match. But nah, Riho fucking destroyed Saraya in this match as far as I was concerned. It wasn't a squash or anything by any minutes. They went, looks like 9 minutes or so, but you know, Riho, to me, it just looked like they made her look super strong, and she absolutely destroys Saraya with her double knees to the face, and picks up the win with the 1, 2, 3. And, this was fantastic, man. After the match, Toni Storm comes down to the ring, or she's carried down to the ring by, Luther. And when she gets in the ring, she's acting like she can't see Riho, and she grabs a pair of like opera binoculars. I lost it again. I was absolutely dying at how funny this Toni Storm character is. Amazing. And then to make it even better, when she takes the binoculars away and Riho got right up in front of her, she acted like she was startled, like super startled. I was dying, dude. I loved it. It was great. Riho beats her up a little bit and hits a 619 on Toni Storm up against the ropes. And as she's about to confront her more, Mariah May with the women's championship belt absolutely destroys Riho. If you could go to Riho's Instagram page, you'll see the aftermath of this. Riho's side of her head was bleeding all over the place. Not sure if it was gimmicked or not, but definitely looked good in this Instagram photo there. So Mariah May shows up to help, and Toni Storm is being carried away by Luther. And Toni Storm is like, "Who are you? Who are you?" to Mariah May. So I think we're still going on with a little bit of a storyline here where Tony's just not even acknowledging Mariah May at all. And maybe that'll be the instigator for why Mariah May turns on Tony.
Man, I really want to get Mariah May in the ring, though.
Yeah.
I mean, real slow burn here. I would like at least give her something on Rampage. Like, I don't know. Let's get her in the ring.
I agree, 100%. Get her in the ring. But they're definitely building up that anticipation, because if me and you are both like, come on, we want to see this girl in the ring, like, that's definitely a good thing right now. But
I mean, yeah, she's excellent in the ring, so it's like I just want to kind of get her in there.
Not extend this too long, you know?
Exactly, that's my whole point.
Yep.
Let's not wait too long.
All right, next up, we had Tony Schiavone reading out a statement from Christian Cage. And, you know, I wrote down this was very good, but I wasn't sure if you were going to agree with me here because Christian, like, wasn't actually here to read this. But I thought this was hilarious.
I mean, Christian not being there made it 100 times better.
Okay.
See, like, here's the thing, right? Like, this is some shit that I would do. Like, I would absolutely do something. So, like, if I was like a heel wrestler or whatever, like, this is fucking hilarious, and I would absolutely do it. This would be something I would do. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna make a statement, and I want you to read it.
I like how Schiavone even read the part that was like, "Tony, you better read this word for word, or I'm gonna slap your stupid face when I see you."
Yeah, right off your yellow teeth or something.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my god, Christian Cage. He took his son on vacation, and he's like,
"Here, I'll still do my job. I'll write out a promo and then make Tony Schiavone read it instead."
Yeah, man, it was excellent. I absolutely love this. This was really, 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 really good. Hilarious. It was so funny.
All right, next up, we cut to Samoa Joe and MJF backstage, kind of sort of confronting in the hallway again. And as MJF is walking off, he finds one of the masks from the Masked Men on the floor. And when you look up above where he finds it, it is Swerve Strickland's locker room. So he knocks on the door, and Nana opens the door, and MJF immediately grabs Nana and asks him what the hell's up with this. But then we get one of the best back and forth promo battles between MJF and Swerve here. And I have a feeling neither one of them was ready for what each other was saying, because they both looked like they were trying to hold back either laughter or something. This looked very, I don't want to say shootish, because it wasn't anything offensive to each other, but this looked very, I guess organic would be a good word for, since we were talking about that earlier. What did you think?
I mean, if you're asking what this was or what it looked like or what it sounded like, I would say money, Jeff. This is what money looked.
Absolutely.
Swerve said that feels like MJF is ducking. Max says, points out that they have history and how they came up in the Indies and they would share car rides and stuff like that. And Max says that he's all grown up now, and there's levels to this shit, which is why that he hasn't Swerve. And Max points out, "Oh, you hear that?" I was like, "Oh, your theme music isn't playing." Or no, he says your theme music isn't on. So neither is your star power, which Oof. I was like, "Oh, that's a good one. That is a really good one." And then Swerve brings up the email from William Regal that's been talked about in the past with MJF.
Yep.
And he says that he's like, "Hey man, while you're flunking tryouts, I was signing contracts." And I was like, "Oh boy, we're really playing here back and forth here." Max kind of bounces back and says solid monologue, bro. He says, "Why don't you do me a favor and pull out those hand-me-down Flava Flav grills out of your mouth?" Yeah, this was excellent, man. This was just a back and forth. This was the second week in a row where we saw the Hangman MJF thing last week was excellent. And then this was also just really, really strong. I kind of felt like between these two promos, we were kind of getting a sneak peek at the hierarchy of 2024 AEW.
Yeah.
That was the vibe I was getting. I was feeling seeds being planted for feuds where, Hangman and Max and Swerve and Max and the money matches that could be had there. Because I also don't think Swerve and Hangman are done by a long shot either. I don't know, man. I think it was all around a really awesome segment. The embassy opened the door, come out, and then Joe shows back up. MJF accuses Swerve of being the devil. Swerve said that he's not the devil, but if he keeps messing around, he's going to come for that title and bring hell to him. Liked that one as well.
This was so good.
Max says he's the big bad wolf of professional wrestling, and he's going to come through and blow down Swerve's house.
That was great. Such a good line.
A bunch of great lines, man. This was an excellent promo. I would say it was my favorite thing on the show tonight.
Okay.
This or the Christian Cage thing, probably more so this, but they were back to back. So for me, this was my favorite part of the show, where I was just a hilarious Christian Cage segment, and then just this really awesome storytelling back and forth. And this is what it looks like when two stars are kind of sparring. This was really, really good. This was very, very
good. I agree 100%. I just wrote down wow, wow, wow after this was over. I thought that was one of my favorite promo segments in a long time. It was so good. Next up, we had Roderick Strong versus Commander and Alex Abrahantes. And I'm so glad Taz said something. Taz was like, "What is Alex wearing?" And he was like, "I digress." But I was immediately looking at Alex and I was like, why is he dressed like Spider-Man 2099? This is weird. You know what I mean? But he's just in a wildly loud outfit, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
But Roderick Strong versus Commander, a good match. Roderick Strong basically grounds Commander for 3/4 of the match. But once Commander was able to get his aerial assault going, he almost picked up the win with a huge Phoenix splash. Only gets the 2 count, and the crowd at this point was chanting "Lucha, Lucha." Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I know the Coog loved it there in the chat. But Roderick Strong, man, he hits one of the most ridiculous end of heartache lung blowers I have ever seen in my life. He goes for a suplex and he makes Commander do a front flip and then hits him with the I was like, I was blown away. I couldn't believe that finisher there. And I don't think he can do that with anybody other than some of these lucha guys like Commander or, Vikingo, somebody like that. Like, that was wild finish.
Yeah.
All right. This was pretty cool at the end of this one. What are those guys called again? The Kingdom. They started walking around with a bunch of signs that said MJF is the devil, and they started duct taping them to the barricades everywhere and handing them out to the crowd. I really wish I could get my hands on one of those for the wall, but I absolutely doubt it. Probably pay like $1,000 on eBay for one.
Yeah, see, we're kind of back with the Roddy thing where I was just like, all right, Roddy, it's enough.
I'm enjoying it again, to be honest. Like, I was definitely down on it, but now that he switched it over to like Renee, and he's like, Renee, Samoa, and like the crowd was yelling it back. They were yelling Renee too. Like, I was kind of into it.
I mean, again, like I think it did hit a point where it bounced back, but now I think for me at least we're back to a downturn where
Okay.
the
I would
only
say
like,
we're
I don't know,
plateaued for me.
it's just not funny at this. The one thing that Roddy does now that is very funny is how he calls Samoa Joe his best friend by proxy.
Yeah, that's good.
That I love. That's hilarious. That's really funny.
Yeah.
But no, I mean the rest of it's just really kind of missing. Like it's not hitting at all for me. Where he's just like it reminds me of someone who tells a joke and they tell it so many times it stops being funny.
Yeah.
Which it happens. Like you tell a joke. Like if you like a joke enough, like I get guilty of it too. Where like I'm a man of bits, and so like if I eventually the bits can die. Like it happens. Very very doable.
Yeah, I agree.
And and like eventually you're gonna hit it where you're like you do the bit, you do the joke, and like the first time it doesn't hit, you're like, oh well, maybe it's just bad delivery. I'll try it again. And then you kind of go back to it again, and like by the third time, you're like, oh man, people just aren't laughing. It's like you kind of got to make that adjustment where it's like, all right, well, this isn't funny anymore. So like Roddy doesn't click with that, where he's just like, I understand it might not be funny anymore. Keep doing it. And it's just like not funny at all.
What I think is happening is the crowd actually does enjoy it, but then online a lot of people didn't enjoy it. You know what I mean? So kind of depends on what they're looking at. Are they looking online or are they listening to the crowd? And it might seem like they're listening to the crowd, to be honest.
I mean, for sure, and obviously, there's a certain. It's funny because there's also something that I'm watching going on in the gaming world right now, where people are like, "Are people trolling online, or is there actually feedback?" And it's like, look, like obviously, there's always going to be trolls on the internet, but I think you should definitely still keep an eye on that thing because there are people out there like myself. I'm not trolling. I want the best for these things. So when I'm saying that I don't think something's good, I'm saying it because I want to change it.
We did just get more proof that Tony Khan was correct about the bots that are anti-AEW online. Like, I didn't research this, but I did see that proof did come out that is true.
Yeah, it was going around. But but the point is that like Roddy it's just not funny for me at this point.
I understand. It's wearing thin.
Like, the other problem is that he's doing it like it was one thing when he was doing it to like when he first appeared on camera. But now it's like every response is I have to yell. So he's like, Renee, and then Renee would say something, and then he'd be like, Renee again. And I'm like, all right.
I'm gonna be honest, I think that appeals to these like TikTok kids, you know what I mean? So we'll see.
Look, man, I spent a lot of time on TikTok too. I didn't like it.
I'm just saying, it's like what a lot of these streamers do, when something's I don't know. We'll see. But let's move along here. Next up was a really cool preview for the Aquaman movie, and they showed pretty much the entire AEW job squad watching the movie. Eating popcorn, and they even had Evil Uno there with a tub of popcorn, and I'm not sure how he was able to eat the popcorn, but it is what it is. This was pretty good. I actually this was one of the first big time movie I guess preview things I've seen them do like on the show. I liked it.
Yeah, definitely.
Next up was our main event, the Gold League match between Jay White and Jon Moxley. And man, this match was awesome. I agree with you that the opening match, Swerve versus Roosh, was badass. And I would have to like argue with myself over which one should have been the main event, but I was okay with this. I was okay with this being the main event here with how good it was. This match was awesome. You have Jon Moxley selling a knee injury mid-match, Jay White going after the knee, and in an absolutely genius move, like something Eddie Guerrero probably would have wrote in his textbook. Jay White grabs 2 chairs. He throws one of them on the ground, and when Bryce Remsburg sees him with the other chair, he throws that chair way off into the center of the ring. So Bryce Remsburg trots his little bald head over there, picks it up and goes to get it out of the ring. And in the meantime, Jay White picks up that second chair and annihilates Moxley's knee with it. I thought he was going to get the win within like a minute after this, but Moxley did put up a great fight, hits him with a curb stomp, only gets a 2 count, but then Jay White hits a awesome Blade Runner and picks up the 1, 2, 3. So now we got 12 points for Moxley, 12 points for Swerve, and 12 points for Jay. People are calling this a clean win. I would say a clean pin, but it wasn't a clean win. You know, he definitely used the chair. You know what I'm saying? He did cheat. But this was definitely a clean pin from Jay White on Jon Moxley. So fantastic match. I loved every minute of this.
I mean, yeah, it's that half of the C2 where it's like, is it believable that Jay White could beat Jon Moxley? I think so. I think it's
Especially with the way they did it. Absolutely.
exactly, and that's why it's like, man, like you guys could have had the entire tournament shaping up like this, but they didn't. So it is. But yeah, I mean, this match was great. It was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. I still think I give the edge to the first match of the night.
I can
But,
totally
I mean,
agree. I mean, I
still
can totally
very-
understand. Yeah,
still a very, very, very good.
absolutely. After the match, we had Swerve Strickland walk down on the ramp to sort of face off with Jay White. And dude, as Swerve's music is playing and they show Jay White in the ring, he starts dancing. Jay White dancing to Swerve's music was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And Moxley struggling to get to his feet so that he can be a part of this 3-way stare down with the 12 points. Jay White annihilates Moxley's knee again. So looks like for the rest of this tournament, we're going to be having a story of Moxley fighting a knee injury. But this was a great episode of Dynamite. Love the way we went off the air here with these 3 guys. Like you said, preview for our 2024. Absolutely loved it.
Yep, sure.
And you can check this out here. This guy on Twitter, Zach Rubio, at Wrestling My Thoughts in a weird way. You could see it there on screen. He's got it up here. The time for each match. Swerve Strickland versus Roosh was 14 minutes, 53 seconds. That's not bad. Mark Briscoe, Jay Lethal, 13:55. Riho Saraya, 8:41. Roderick Strong Commander, 9:56. And Jay White Moxley, 15:10. That looks like right around 60 minutes. So we got like an hour of wrestling tonight, man. That's not terrible on these 2-hour shows.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely nice to have a balance.
Yeah, the Cougs gonna get to see Collision live on Saturday. That's gonna be awesome. Thunder Rosa's back, teaming with someone that I never imagined I would ever see this happen, but Thunder Rosa teaming with Abaddon, that's gonna be freaking awesome. And I would actually love to see Abaddon do like a tiny little bit of a character tweak to kind of match Thunder Rosa's Day of the Dead face paint. Maybe do a little bit of the Day of the Dead girl, you know what I mean? Like that would be really cool. So we'll see what happens there on Collision. Do you have what's going to be going down on Collision and Rampage?
I do. So first up, like you said, is the tag match with Sky Blue and Julia Hart teaming up against Thunder Rosa and Abaddon. Which again, we didn't do a pot on Saturday, but thank God, they actually ended up putting Sky Blue and Julia together. The right call. It was such the right call. I'm so glad they ended up actually.
And they look incredible together too.
They do. It's such a great team. going to go really well. And again, it's going to be this begin to focus shift where you're going to see it. And like Dax kind of said it on his Collision promo, where it's like Leah's kind of like the focal point right now, which I really like it. Of the House of Black. Also, on Saturday on Collision, we have Brian Cage versus Keith Lee. The Acclaimed are finally back from their who knows what they were doing, and will be defending their trios titles against Top Flight and Action Ready. We have Claudio Castagnoli versus Bryan Danielson in the Blue League for the C2. We also have Brody King and Daniel Garcia in the C2. Andrade El Idolo and Eddie Kingston also in the C2. Announced for Rampage, all we have right now is the Rocky Romero Orange Cassidy International title match. They did officially announce tonight Riho versus Toni Storm at World's End for the women's world title. They did remind us that MJF and Samoa Joe will be going at it for the world title at World's End. And also next week on Dynamite, we have the Gold League final, which will be Jon Moxley, Swerve Strickland, and Jay White in a three-way dance.
Woof. In a three-way.
Yes, sir.
Woof. Oh, man. All right. That was a excellent episode of Dynamite. Thank you, Tony Khan. That was a great Christmas episode, I guess. What do they call it? The Holiday Bash. That was great. We should continue that on Friday and Saturday, I believe. Ooh, did I just see a picture of here we go. Here's a shot of Riho's head after the belt shot from Mariah May. That definitely does not look worked. That looks like some natural color there. Oof, a belt shot. These things weigh a lot. Like if you've never picked up a belt before, you've held my belt, Rome. That thing weighs like a good 15, 20 pounds, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I stopped carrying it to shows because it's too heavy to carry around. My arms get tired by the end of the show. All right. Anything else that you want to go over before we head out of here?
Yeah, I just want to make sure nobody looks at the description of the video, which is last Wednesday's description. But it's okay.
It? What?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Jeff
Thought I deleted that.
No, it's okay. I was going to look for the episode number, and I was like, wait a second. It's not right.
Hold on. Did I not delete it? Oh, I didn't. I forgot to hit the save button. Oh.
So I'm going to assume that this has been episode 192.
Yes.
Of the Broken Tables podcast. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us here tonight. I know the Doge was here earlier. Thank you to Coog, Michael Duke, Serge, everyone. Thank you for hanging out. Really appreciate that. My screen just went out on the video, but it's okay. I must work for the TBS, I guess.
Why is your screen doing that? It's like flashing.
I don't know. On the YouTube feed, it's just gray. I'm just. It's all gray.
It's like flashing for me here.
Oh yeah, no, it's out. It's completely out. Yeah, we work for TBS. This is a great bit. Oh man, love bits. Such a guy. I'm a man of bits, folks. Honestly,
you should be back. You're back on my screen. I don't know what's happening.
Back now. Yeah, okay, there we go. Now I'm back. Okay, cool. Anyways, yeah, 192 Broken Tables podcast. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us here tonight. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Become a member as well. Helps the channel. Helps us grow. If you like pro wrestling, you're in the right place. We talk about AEW here on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and pay-per-views. We also do other little wrestling things when we can. If you like video games, the Game Room podcast has moved to its own channel. We can be found at Roman Dev Gaming. I'm not sure if Jeff added that to the description yet.
It is down there, yes.
All right, so go down there and make sure you subscribe. Again, we're going to be talking about gaming. So obviously with the holidays, kind of rough this week. So I think we're trying to do a show tomorrow. So, join the Discord. Stay tuned there because we'll definitely let you guys know. Make sure you subscribe to that channel as well, so we can get both channels growing. Great.
I did it again. I think I know why.
Oh okay. No, it's another. Oh, the bit lives on. God damn it! Here we are.
I can keep triggering Orange Cassidy to walk away in disgust too.
Well, you just leave it like this. This is great. This is exactly how I think.
It already fixed itself. I think I know why it's doing it.
I think you're the problem, Jeff. It's like you must be working at TBS.
It's when I'm typing into YouTube chat. It's very odd that that's causing that.
You're hitting the button. That's what it is. But But anyways, yeah, we will be back on Saturday where we'll talk about Collision, do our holiday wishes to everyone. But until then, we will see you guys on Saturday.
All right, guys. Thank you guys very much for joining us. Till next time. Top Guys out.